To order. We have the prayer and the pledge by Council Member Marlon Lewis.
Heads down and eyes closed in reverence to His utmost, His highest. Father God, we come in the name of Jesus just to say thank you, Lord, for allowing us to meet again, Lord God. Lord God, we ask you to guide us in our proceedings, Lord God. Take our will, Lord God, and teach us how to, and help us make good decisions for our city and our constituents, Lord. We ask all these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Pro Tem Dan Doyle,
here.
Councilmember Natalie Lopez,
President.
Councilmember Marlon Lewis,
Here.
Councilmember David Broussard,
Here.
Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter,
Here.
Councilmember Sherry Guidry,
Present.
Councilmember Dustin Swear.
Here.
Item 1 is public comment. We have no comment cards.
No, sir.
We'll be moving on to item 2. Madam Clerk.
Acceptance of the minutes. Acceptance of the minutes of the April 16, 2019 meeting as published on April 29, 2019.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Lewis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Swear. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you. Madam Clerk, item 3.
Persons to address the council. We have Mr. Armin Schwing representing Schwing Insurance Agency for presentation of a dividend check from LWCC.
Good afternoon. I'd like to thank you all for having me here tonight, especially Mayor DeCourt, Maxine, and Sandra, who I work closely with on the workers' compensation insurance for the city of New Iberia. I know it says I'm presenting a check. I hate to disappoint everybody. I don't have a check tonight. But that's only because it was delivered to the city about 2.5 weeks ago. We wanted to make sure that you guys got the money as soon as we could possibly get it to you, and so the first day that they were out delivering checks, yours came here. This was the 16th year in a row that the city's received a dividend check from LWCC. This year, it was down a little bit from last year, unfortunately. It's no reflection of the operation of the city or what's going on here. It was an overall decrease in the dividend that LWCC paid to its policyholders. The check that was delivered to Mayor DeCourt on April 17th was in the amount of $150,126. LWCC declared a total dividend this past year for all of their policyholders of $51 million, which was down from $81 million the year before. So that was the reason that the city's dividend went down. Everybody's went down proportionately. It has nothing to do with the loss history of the city or the claims that you guys incur in your workers' compensation insurance program. It's solely a factor based on a 3-year premium history as it relates to the overall premiums that LWCC receives. With that being said, I did take a moment to check out your loss history because, as you all know, we're about almost a year in with the new police department being added. That's a lot of payroll. Those are fairly hazardous jobs. I mean, they're out there putting themselves in harm's way for our benefit, and fortunately, we haven't seen an increase in claims. In fact, we're down a little bit. We're seeing a trend over the last couple of years of claims being reduced. So that makes your insurance premiums go down somewhat. We hope to see that start to take effect. And when premiums are down for you guys, then your dividend may go down a little bit. But we're hoping that we can see a greater reduction in premium than the reduction in the dividend. For those 16 years, the check that was delivered brought the total of dividends to the city of New Iberia from LWCC to over $2 million. It was $2,013,000 has been returned to the city by LWCC. I'm just without a check to present. I got to give something, right? So I've got the history and the total for Mayor DeCourt. I'm going to give him that, and after that, if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, man. All right. Thank you. Thanks for all you do. It's a pleasure to work with you, and this is a reflection, as well as our losses, all of our department heads, all of our staff, everybody really being conscious and, trying to be safe at work. But I thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments? Yes.
I would just like to say that Mr. Swing is not only our insurance representative for this, but he is a resident of the city, and specifically District 1, and one of my favorites. So I just want to put that out there for the city to understand that we're doing business with local insurance. This is someone who lives in our city, who pays taxes in our city, who works in our city. His whole family, almost his whole family, lives in the city in District 1. And I just want to put it out there and that we really, really appreciate you and all you do for us.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I just want to say his office is in District 5.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
No
it
doubt
is.
about it.
And we do appreciate local business. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank y'all.
Thank you very much.
Y'all have a good evening.
You have a good evening. Madam Clerk, item 4.
Proclamations, we have a proclamation declaring May as Mental Health Month in the city of New Iberia.
Great. Now we have some people to come up, as they do every year. I'll go ahead and read it, and then you have to speak. Whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and whereas all Americans experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives, whereas prevention is an effective way to reduce the burden of mental health conditions, whereas there's a strong research that animal companionship, humor, spirituality, religion, recreation, social connections, and work-life balance can help all Americans protect their health and well-being. Whereas mental health conditions are real and prevalent in our nation, whereas with effective treatment, those individuals with mental health conditions can recover and lead full, productive lives. Whereas each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen shares the burden of mental health problems and has a responsibility to promote mental wellness and support prevention. Now, therefore, I, Freddie Court, Mayor of the City, New Iberia, do proclaim May 2019 as Mental Health Month in the City of New Iberia. As the Mayor of the City of New Iberia, I also call upon the citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools in the City of New Iberia to recommit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps our citizens can take to protect their mental health, and the need to appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental health conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of our group, some of which are here, our volunteers, we certainly appreciate the proclamation that the mayor and the council does every year for such an important cause. We come just to remind the community of the importance of mental health, and we certainly appreciate your efforts in that regard to remind the community and to keep the conversation going. Catherine's going to tell you a little bit about a couple of the projects that have happened since we saw you last year.
Great.
And we wanted to let you know about what's being done in our community to address mental health and promote mental health. We will soon be having a full-time position at the Iberia Parish Health Unit for a mental health social worker. She will be able to evaluate, assess children's mental health needs, work with their parents, connect them with resources, and do follow-up. So that will assist a lot of families in Iberia Parish in their aspects of mental health. We also have a family mental health support group. It meets monthly. It's open to the public. It's free. It's facilitated by a licensed mental health social worker also, and that meets on the fourth Tuesday of every month at the Iberia Medical Center North Campus. And what we're doing for Mental Health Month, in addition to the proclamations, is a program that's open to the public. It's free. It will be held on May 23rd. You all have a flyer in front of you, and we ask you if you can circulate that flyer at your business place, at your church, wherever you feel like it would be seen and people might benefit from it. The program is being done by Cindy Hayes. She also is a licensed mental health social worker, and it will deal with the adverse effects of trauma and traumatic experiences that children experience, how it can impact them possibly for the rest of their lives. So it ought to be a very good program. It'll educate and create a lot of understanding on how our mental health develops. So we hope you can help us spread the word, and thank you again for this proclamation.
Thank you. I have a copy for you. Same one as last year, beautiful. Thank y'all very much. Thanks for all y'all do. All right, we're moving on to item 5.
Resolutions. A resolution authorizing the city of New Iberia to request a study from the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development to evaluate the need for crosswalks at the intersection of Iberia Street and Admiral Drive.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Broussard and Councilwoman Lopez. Do we have any discussion? No discussion? Please vote your machines. Thank you. 5B.
Resolution authorizing the city of New Iberia to request a study from the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development to evaluate the need for crosswalks at the intersection of Center Street and Admiral Drive.
Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Okay. Councilman Broussard and Councilwoman Guidry. Any discussion on this item? Yes, sir. Mr. Broussard.
Mr. Mayor Decourt, thank you for letting this council put items for discussion on our meetings. You never deny us. All ideas count. Last meeting, I put 5 items on the discussion item. 2 of them are coming true tonight that we're asking the state, to come put these crosswalks. They're very serious for getting to Center Street School and to Cathcart and to everybody else using that area. If you ask, such safety projects will save lives, ask. You might receive. So if y'all have ideas, don't be afraid to put them on the table, because some come true. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate all your help.
Thanks for all your effort.
And we try to bring different ideas to the table.
Yes, sir.
Don't hold them back. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote your machine. Thank you. Madam Clerk, 5C.
Resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the yearly maintenance agreement, including mowing and litter pickup with the Department of Transportation and Development for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Lewis and a second on this side, Councilwoman Ledbetter. Do we have any discussion on this item? No discussion?
No, it's just a renewal.
This is the same contract that we get every year for the money that doesn't work. We tried last year really hard. Dan fought on that one last year, so did a couple other people, to say, could we get more money? We talked, we tried, it's not gonna happen. This contract, the state gives us X amount of dollars. It costs more than what they give us, but we have to do it. If we refuse to do this, then all those right-of-ways are gonna do nothing but be overgrown, major arteries, major access into our community, and y'all know how hard we're working to clean this place up, so we really don't have a choice except to say, thank you for what you give us, and to cut the grass. Yes, Dustin?
Can I ask you,
You sure can.
how much do they give us?
It's 30,000, 32.5, 32.5. Yes, and we probably spend 42.5, or,
Okay, that's what I was wondering, how
Yeah,
much would
4
come out of our
cuts.
pocket too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Well, then please vote your machines. Thank you. Pleasure losing money with you. I'm sorry. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Resolution accepting the low bid and awarding the contract to Minville Davis Construction in the amount of $8,997 for the project entitled Senior Citizen Center Canopy, and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract documents in connection therewith.
Do I have a motion? Motion by, I think the Mayor Pro Tem got that one, and second by Councilman Swear. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
We just talked about doing business locally,
Mm-hmm.
although this is in District 6, but also as a community and a council, we have a local business taking care of this job, so
Mhm.
I like seeing that done.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Definitely. Councilman Lopez.
I just want to say thank you to the mayor. This is I'm pretty obsessed with that little building because it's just so cute. And originally I wanted a pergola.
Yes.
I was asking them, I want a pergola off the back. That way people, when they have events, could string lights. I don't know. It's just so quaint. But I'll definitely be happy with the canopy.
Great.
So,
great.
you know, I know this is going kind of above and beyond where we initially started with this building. And I just, you know, I appreciate the interest. And it is a local business. And both owners live in District 1. And I love them both. They did construction on my last house. And they are really, really great guys. And they're very humble. And I mean, they really are. And they just started a couple years ago. So I'm glad that we're giving them a chance to work with the city. Because, you know, I have a feeling that they're going to do very well for themselves as they get their name out. Because they were very hands-on. They didn't, like, send a crew. One of them was there at all times, making sure everything was getting done right at my house. So I'm pretty confident in them.
Good, good. And I did try to do, you know, the pergola. We went for a little bit bigger design, but we couldn't afford it. So we backed off, and this will give a nice canopy that people can utilize the back porch. It'll protect the windows and the doors, which we just changed because they were not protected. And we poured concrete back there. This gives us a way to utilize it. So I think it was a good compromise. Anything further? Please vote your machines. Thank you. Madam Clerk, 5E.
Resolution accepting the low bid and awarding the contract to B-Yard Construction in the amount of $55,000 for the project entitled City Hall Roof Replacement, and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract documents in connection therewith.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion, Councilwoman Guidry, Councilwoman Ledbetter. Do we have any discussion?
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I saw the other bids are pretty close comparing to this bid of the roof, and I saw Paul Allen did the design work. Did we have a spec for this project? It looks like it's a lot of money difference.
Yes, it is a lot of money difference.
Okay.
And Paul didn't handle this project. I did.
Okay, I was just
Yeah, no, we didn't pay architectural fees on this one because it was a small project. We have a 30-year architectural shingle. We have Under Armour instead of felt. We have a concrete cap that is secured with a screw that is better than what was going to go up there. Got full warranties. It's a 30-year shingle. Checked it out. I put the roof on this building in '94 as a private contractor, so I got to be the only mayor ever climbed on a roof. I know the building. I think we're fine. We shopped it hard. We invited quite a few bidders. The first go round, we got a couple of prices. They were very much over the budget. We did a little redesign work, and then we invited the second group of bidders, bid it a second time, changed some of the specs around, and we got a very good price. So I'm fully comfortable with Tom Biot. Have done many projects with him over the years. I see no reason not to execute
Mayor.
the contract.
What was the budget for this?
We originally had 50,000, and then it's at 55. We're close, but we saved money on the other roof. The next item,
Yeah, I know.
that's where I picked up the difference. We saved money on the little fire station roof. It came in cheaper. So kind of when you look, Gordon had that money in his budget, but when you look at the total, we're still okay.
Mayor,
We
you
got
think,
two very good prices.
I have no problem accepting this because
Uh-huh.
PR is a good
Yeah.
company. But I saw one of the other bids that had some pricing in case when they undo the shingles, they have some rotten wood that they might have had to replace if they find that. And if that would be the case, when they start doing it, you would have enough money approved to let them do that work without stopping?
Yes, unless there would be
You know what I mean?
some major damage.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at the original copper flashings at the dormers really hard. Around that area is normally where you would have some rot. So I fully think that we don't have a huge area of rotten deck up there. There's two spots that it has been leaking for a while. I'm not saying we won't have any, because on the 4th floor in Jimmy's office, there's a couple of spots. There's one in Brian's office. I mean, this is how long it's been overdue since since we all came on board this term. The roof has been leaking. So there could be a few small areas. I'm not anticipating some, giant change order.
But you would have enough money even to take care of that without even coming back to the council, that's what I'm saying. I wanna make sure we don't hold up the project, because it might run a little bit more if we do have that rot around the dormers.
I probably could use some maintenance money from the building if I had
Okay.
to. But Jimmy's shaking his head. We don't have any left.
No, I just wanna make sure you
Yeah,
have
I
enough money to
understand.
do
I
your
understand. Yeah, I think I do. I
Okay.
really think we're gonna be fine.
project. Okay, good, thanks.
Any further discussion? Yes.
Just a question, just for thought. What's the square footage of?
Boy, now that's a question.
It says how many
I
square?
asked because I've had 2 roofs replaced, and
It's a
I
good
know the
question.
size of the house, and I know what I've
It's
I
a-
know what I paid.
It's
and
a good
Dan's
question.
Like,
I don't know the
he's like
squares.
55,000. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
it was 15,000 for a 2,000 square foot roof on a
Right.
little house.
Right. Jimmy,
40
but how
feet in the air.
big do you think his
Right.
building
No,
is?
and I know. You gotta say.
Plus,
it'll
it's
work.
4 stories up.
Yeah,
Four
right.
stories.
You know,
up.
it's not your house.
No, I know. I know.
It
'Cause it doesn't sound outrageous to me. Is
Gotta
what
be-
I'm saying.
at least 100 and something squares, 150
Yeah.
squares, something like that. You can't really compare it per square because
No, I know.
you
I'm just saying. I mean, to
'Cause it's
me,
4
it
stories
doesn't
up.
sound. That doesn't
Oh, no,
sound
it's a
like
really-
an unreasonable price at
Look,
all.
I said the budget because I roofed the building before. Okay. The bid came in at 55,000, and I said my budget at 50. When I roofed it in '94, it was 42 or 43,000 back then.
Oh yeah, we're doing good. Great.
So no, it's a really good price, and I think we should not discuss it any further
Next.
and sign it up
Next.
before the price goes up. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote your machine. Thank you all very much. 5F.
Resolution accepting the low bid and awarding the contract to BR Construction in an amount of $5,700 for the project entitled Week Street Fire Station Roof Replacement.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I have a bunch of motions. I don't know who to go with. Okay, then Councilwoman Guidry and Councilman Swear. And everybody else, thank you. Do we have any discussion? And just to let you know, I'd budgeted 9 on this one, and the bids came in at $5,700. So please vote yes. If there's no other discussion, please vote your machines. Thank you. 5G.
Resolution awarding 6-month bids for high road materials, sanitary sewer materials, and high calcium quicklime pebble.
Do I have a motion? Motion. Councilman Lewis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Broussard. Any discussion on these items? No discussion? Please vote your machines. Thanks again. Madam Clerk, 6.
Recommendation from Planning and Zoning, a recommendation to approve a special use conditional permit to operate W's Towing Company at 630 West Washington Street, Louisiana, owned by Willie Lumpkin and Lakeisha Lumpkin, on property owned by Stitelet Investment LLC.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by, okay, Councilman Lewis and a second by Councilwoman Guidry. Is there any discussion on this item? Councilwoman Guidry.
If Ms. Jane can come up, I didn't get a chance to attend the meeting and tell us a little bit about, you can clearly see this is gonna be a towing company, but, we needed a special permitting use.
Yeah, the reason it requires a special use, conditional use permit is the property is not zoned for a towing company, although it was used in the past
Right.
for Bell's Towing Company. So it was a non-conforming use which lost, the non-conforming use because it remained vacant for more than a year. But letters went out, as well as Mr. Lumpkin walked around the neighborhood and spoke with his neighbors. There was no opposition, either by mail, email, or the night of the zoning commission meeting.
Okay, so we shouldn't get any calls complaining about there's a trucking company on West Washington Street.
I think everyone should know by now.
I think we should be fine, yep. Thank you, Ms. Jane.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion?
Well, I just want to say,
Yes, sir.
I want to tell the young man, thank you,
Oh,
man.
yes.
I grew up in Mr. Joe Bell's place with his son William, so I know the place, man. Thank you for bringing commerce back to the West End. Appreciate that.
Thank y'all, okay?
Good. Any further discussion? Please vote your machines. Thank y'all very much. Madam Clerk, item 7.
Introduction of ordinance. An introduction of an ordinance levying millages on the 2019 tax roll on all property subject to taxation by the city of New Iberia as follows. Millage, general purpose, 5.77 mills. Streets, sidewalks, and alleys, 3.45 mills. Public parks and recreational facilities, 2.96 mills. General obligation bonds, 6.83 mils. Debt service, 4.00 mils. Note to council, all millage rates are remaining the same with the exception of the general obligation bond millage rate, which is subject to increase by council from 6.33 mils to 6.83 mils, 0.5%, as discussed at the prior council meeting on April 16, 2019 with Jason Akers, attorney at law.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Guidry and a second by, I think, Councilman Lewis. And this is the item, just to reiterate one more time, that we got Jason Akers here last week to discuss. We don't vote tonight. We vote on it at the next meeting. This is the introduction. But I want everybody to clearly understand the way it's written right now, we would be going that half a cent up and increasing, if you, as a council, choose to do that. We would be raising that the way it's written now. But that's why we bring it to you, and that's why we discuss it. So I'll open the floor for discussion. Councilwoman Swear.
I'll make a comment on this. With the last meeting we spoke.
I looked at Sherry and I'm sorry, Councilman Swear.
It's not a problem. We don't
Hey,
look
if she
alike
wants
at
to take it,
all.
you have it.
I'm chocolate.
No, you should go first. It was my
Okay,
mistake.
thank you. I'm off track.
I know. I mess everything up.
After the last meeting we spoke, when Jason was here, we had the averages at like, what was it? The average home assessed value, I think we come up to about $7 a year additional.
Yes, sir.
And I must sit here and say this, I'm not always a pro-tax person, but being that this is an obligation that we have to cover, I think it's a smart move to do this, and the reason why is because our credibility in the future when these bonds renew in 2020 and in 2023, am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
We need those in the future, and I think if we don't do this now, we're jeopardizing our future bonding credibility with the bonding attorney. And I just wanted to say that, just like anything, any loan you have, any mortgage you have an obligation to meet. And if you don't meet those obligations, it turns out in the future you might not be able to get that loan or that business loan. I'm talking on a business sense because I do run a business and I see how it is. Just take care of yourself and make sure you're okay in the future, and that's basically what we're doing here. So I just wanted to put it out there and let everybody know it is $7 at the average household, $7 a year. And if we don't do that, we're gonna lose more in the future if we're not take care of our obligations. So that's all I have to say on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Guidry, I'm picking. Councilwoman Guidry. I'm just playing.
That's okay. Thank you, Mayor Hilda. Just teasing. I just want to agree with Councilman Swear concerning our credibility and our integrity concerning these bonds. And, some say, well, that's, a few taxes in 3 years, but it's important that we continue to move our city forward. It's important that we make good on any loans that we have that's outstanding there. And we're talking about at least, what, a fourth of a cent? Or half a meal, I'm sorry. Or is that like 80 cents a month?
58 cents a month.
Kind of, sort of? Okay. Per household. And my last question, my question is, Mayor, the term limit on it. Can we come back and change it at any time or at the end of every year when Jason comes back?
We adjust this. The millages come to us every year.
Right.
To be adjusted.
Yes, sir.
It could be looked at every year. It will be looked at every year. The big analysis will be, are we paying for it? Is it paying for itself every year? But yes, we look at this every year.
And we do have the power to adjust it
Yes.
if need be.
Yes, certainly.
If we're in office, so to speak.
Certainly.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, it's just introduction tonight, so
Don't have to vote on it?
no further discussion. Vote your machines. Thank you all. Madam Clerk, item 8.
Public hearing. Public hearing on introduction of ordinance amending the City of New Iberia Code of Ordinances, in particular, Chapter 26, Environment, Article 3, Stormwater Pollution Prevention, under paragraph 3.3, Application Requirements.
I need a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion open.
Councilwoman Ledbetter and Councilman Lewis. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Councilwoman Ledbetter,
Motion.
Councilman Broussard. Thank y'all very much. Now we go to item 9, ordinances.
Ordinance amending the City of New Iberia Code of Ordinances, in particular, Chapter 26, Environment, Article 3, Stormwater Pollution Prevention, under Paragraph 3.3, Application Requirements.
Motion.
Do I have a motion? Councilwoman Ledbetter, do I have a second? Councilman Broussard. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Item 10.
Introduction of budget amendments. Introduction of ordinances and to set for public hearing on May 21st, 2019. Introduction of budget amendment ordinance number 2018-2019-10, amending the ordinance levying certain taxes, appropriating the funds necessary to defray the expenses and liabilities of the City of New Iberia for the year 2018-2019, to amend the budget for year-to-date variances.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion. Councilman Lewis and Councilman Swear. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Item 11.
Financial reports. Budget to actual comparison from November 1, 2018 through March 31, 2019, presented by Kevin Zarang.
Hello, Council.
Good evening.
You beat me to it. I propose a little change on this one. Instead of going through and giving the numbers, which you have, I was just going to touch on some of the numbers have a variance from the percentage we would expect. Is everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's take a look first at general fund. Well, take a step back. We're 5 months into the budget, so we should be at 41.7%. So general fund on revenue is at 41.8, which is a variance of 0.18, which I don't think needs explanation. Expenses is actually below where we would expect to be. It's at 39.45. Parks and Recreation is at 70.97% of their revenue, and that is due, as we had discussed in previous meetings, the way we recognize the ad valorem tax. Expense-wise, they're actually below where we would expect them to be at 5 months. Public Works, they're higher than expected on their revenue for the same reason as the parks. They're below on their expenditures, which is a good thing. Sales tax is where it should be. Public safety, which is the police tax, it's where it should be, and the expenses are actually below. And garbage fund is where it should be. So, unfortunately, wastewater got cut off on this report. On what I have, is it on your report?
No.
Okay. Well, I can let you know wastewater is also where it should be for the percentages.
Which is,
Ma'am?
which is,
Their actual percentages, I don't have them.
okay.
I can go in and pull them, but they were close to the 40%.
Yeah, he was right under the 41.
Yeah. So actually this year, this month, everybody's doing well, and
There you go. There you go. There it is. I was waiting for it.
but you know, as Freddie has mentioned in the past, we've implemented a bi-monthly budget meeting with all the department heads, and that's helping us to keep track of stuff. Any questions?
Questions? Comments? Good. Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
And thanks to all department heads. You know, we running a good ship. Can't ask for better. Now we move on. Item 12. There are no items for discussion tonight. Councilman remarks. I'm gonna start with Marlo.
Well, Mayor, Council, I want to announce coming soon, May the 18th, at Anderson Middle School, We're doing our second annual, it's our third one, but it's our second one in a row, annual Teen Summit, Youth Summit, focusing on youth violence and intervention, intervention and prevention. Just trying to stay involved. We have a lot of partners, and we're hoping that, our constituents send their kids there, because we don't want to be preaching to the choir. And we're making moves to get into the various schools and different places where the kids are at, so that we can have a impactful event.
Thank you. Councilman Broussard.
Mr. Mayor, again, bring up our nuisance committee. Sherry Gidry, I think you run up that nuisance committee. We have some different things like trash issues, as well as some other issues I think we can bring up and tighten up a few things on that nuisance committee. And Sherry, I think you have a little program going on, door to door, checking on the elderly, which is great. What date that'll be on? And when you get to your time, give us a date and a little bit on that program. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Broussard. Mayor Pro Tem.
This time of the year, again, I think Justin mentioned it, and I want to mention it again because I've been seeing it happening, about people, mostly licensed grass cutters cutting and putting stuff in the street again. And all the rain we've been having is not helping the flooded street. So if you don't want your street flooded and you see somebody doing it, just let them know that we do have an ordinance on the books. Probably in the near future, we should maybe write up a couple people to get the word out that we're not gonna let them throw stuff in the streets. And Friday night, we got a few of my friends are having, instead of a bar crawl, we're doing a bike ride to each bar around town. So if you see some bikes, please be careful. So you see some activities, and it's some people even coming from Lafayette to do it. So, that's good. I mean, the people come to New Iberia do.
Motorcycle day?
No, it's just my bikes, not motorcycles, because you can't really drink and drive. We won't be drinking. We just going bar to bar.
Have you
Let
practiced?
y'all know we can be around town Friday night. Thank
Have you
y'all.
practiced riding a bike?
On the grass cutter, remember, we do have a policy and a letter in place that you can call if you see that, and then my office sends them a letter to make them aware of the ordinance. Thanks for that. Bike thing might be fun. Councilwoman Ledbetter?
I just wanted to announce that we're gonna have the annual symposium this month on May 23rd at 6:00 p.m. at the Slyman. The theme this year is highlighting the present with a focus on the future. We're gonna have several panelists there, some from last year and some new. So I'm asking our community to come out and support this event. Also, I want to announce also that May is also Community Action Month. So support your community action. Smile Community Action Agency is doing several things this month also. So look out for those.
Thank you. Councilwoman Guidry?
I just want to encourage everyone to check out Azalea Estates, assisted living, the retirement community. There's something called Rockathon for Alzheimer's going on May 15. Please contact Chris Thibodeau at 364-1695 and check to see. It's a $10 donation for what they call Rockathon, and just check on our seniors at the Azalea Assistant Living and all around town. There's something different going on for the seniors. I just want to thank Councilman Lewis for inviting me to the National Day of Prayer at Mount Calvary Baptist Church. I really enjoyed myself. The place was saturated with prayer. I needed that day, so that was so good. I want to thank the mayor for allowing me to stand proxy and read the mayor proclamation and stuff. So I really appreciate that, doing that every year. And also too, I also want to thank the city of New Iberia for allowing us to have National Prayer Day on the steps of City Hall. This place too was saturated with prayer from the Ministerial Federation, and I was able to, I was grateful to be able to participate in that, praying for our youth and young adults for the city. And also too, Mr. Leroy, I want to thank you for going out there and checking on that matter very quickly and efficiently as possible. I appreciate you and your department. I have a little concern. I've been kind of riding my district and throughout the city, coming in and out different exit and entryways throughout New Iberia. There's a lot of trash in different places. I mean, if I have to be honest, it's looking kind of bad. So, you know, there's sofas, tires, trees, you name it, you know, and I realize we've been through several storms and everything, so we're all trying to clean out our homes and our yards and everything. So hopefully we can kind of get some of this stuff cleaned up. And I'm proud of the citizens that they actually piling stuff to the road now. So things are being thrown away. We just got to figure out how we can get it all picked up in the proper channels. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, one more thing. I'm so sorry. Mr. Broussard, you spoke about a little program that I'm trying to do where I have several volunteers and a team already that has been nudging me. So I have some free T-shirts for anyone that want to participate. It's not much, but we're going to walk and go knock on the doors of the elderly and just check on them. And again, I want to remind everybody it's not election year. This is just something I'm trying to do out the kindness of my heart, that the Lord placed on my heart to do, knocking on the doors, just checking on the elderly. It's starting to get hot, sometimes they can't cut the grass. I can't promise I'll cut your grass, but I can go and check on you, and I might just pull out my lawnmower maybe one time for at least one elderly senior that cannot do it. Give me some good exercise to do. So if you want to be a part of the walking campaign, knocking on doors, checking on the elderly with me, it's no particular route. We just have particular groups that's going to go in different sections. Please contact me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got one comment to make. Ms. Gidry brought it up with the cutting of the trees and stuff like that. If you want to cut your trees in your own yard, that's great. More power to you. But just please don't put it on a street corner where there's an intersection and pile it up to where no one can see when they're coming out to a major roadway. That can be a major problem. It becomes a public safety issue. You can put it out in the front where Gordon can pick it up and stuff like that. But as far as put it on a corner of a major roadway, that's when it becomes an issue. So I just wanted to let that be known to the public so they can know about that. Thank you.
I got one more thing, Mayor.
Yes.
There's also seem to be some imbalance on or a lack of understanding concerning, what Gordon picks up versus what he do not pick up. And I've received several calls on that, and there are some surcharges concerning if you cutting down trees and piling them up to the road. I mean, if it's not just little branches and stuff, there may be a surcharge on that concerning that. So I just want the residents to kind of consider that when they're cutting down the trees and stacking them to the road, because there's a lot of that going on as well. Thank you.
Great. Thank y'all. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Look, the light starts working.